I was sent by God. You have 3 days to break this curse. It was placed by a family member you still trust. They don't want you to know. They never expected this message to find you. But it has. Not because of chance. Not because of luck. Because the heavens have declared, enough is enough. The deception must end, and the light must break through. Archangel Michael speaks now, not in whispers, not in shadows, but in divine clarity. There is a curse on your name, and the hands that released it still smile at your table. You trusted them. You still do. But the energy around you has changed, hasn't it? The confusion, the repeated failures, the sudden isolation, the heaviness that greets you in the morning, the delay that surrounds your prayers. That's not random. That's not natural. That's designed. That was spoken into existence. And now, Archangel Michael stands with the sword of revelation to say, you have 3 days to break this chain. 3 days to interrupt what was set in motion by blood but driven by envy. What they placed upon you was never just a word. It was an assignment. It was a ritual. A curse disguised as a blessing. Spoken behind closed doors. Whispered over items that belonged to you. Wrapped in spiritual language but fueled by manipulation and control. And still, they speak to you as though they love you. They hug you. They celebrate your small wins. But in the spirit, they are thieves of destiny. Yet heaven says, you shall not remain bound. You are hearing this because you are still on time. This is your activation. This is your moment. 3 days. 3 steps. 3 spiritual gates to close. But first, you must know what has truly been happening. Archangel Michael says, be still. Be attentive. Be spiritually awake, because this is no ordinary warning. This is not speculation. This is not paranoia. This is divine surveillance delivering you confirmation. You, child of light, have been targeted, not by strangers, not by known enemies, but by someone within your trust circle. Someone whose voice you recognize. Someone whose hand you held. Someone whose prayers you believed were for you, when they were secretly against you. This is spiritual warfare disguised as family. And now, the heavens are shaking. You've been wondering why things feel off. Why doors open but do not lead anywhere. Why your mind has been foggy, your sleep disrupted, your emotions in turmoil. Why your spirit feels distant from the promises you once held so close. The curse is subtle. The curse is buried beneath affection. The curse is wrapped in tradition and the illusion of loyalty. But Archangel Michael was sent by the Almighty to break the silence and to break the illusion. The one you trust the most may not even know the full darkness they participated in, because generational pain has taught them manipulation. Generational survival has taught them envy. Generational patterns have taught them silence. But you were not born to continue what others quietly accepted. You are the breaker. You are the end to this ancestral affliction. You have 3 days, not to panic but to prepare, not to fear but to fight, not with your fists but with your faith, not through confrontation but through consecration. Cleanse your space, anoint your thoughts, renounce every agreement made with lies, whether knowingly or unknowingly, and most importantly, identify where the manipulation has masqueraded as love. Ask God for clarity. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal what has been hidden, because it will come through visions. It will come through conversations. It will come through sudden divine interruptions. Archangel Michael stands now with legions, not to alarm you, but to awaken you, because the time for spiritual passivity is over. If you miss this window, the curse will root itself deeper. But if you respond now, if you rise now, then in 3 days, the curse will collapse, and in its place will be a surge of light, favor, clarity, and liberation unlike anything you've ever experienced before. This is not a maybe. This is not a suggestion. This is a divine command. Your deliverance has an expiration date, and it starts now. Type "I receive this warning" in the comments below. Lesson code 1444 is activated around your household. Archangel Michael speaks again, not in anger, but in fierce mercy. For you have been watched in silence. You have been studied by eyes that should have celebrated you. And now, it is time to understand the depth of what has truly been happening behind the veil. You have not imagined the shift. You have not been wrong about the strange tension in the room, the sudden gossip you sensed but never heard, the compliments that felt hollow, or the invitations that carried hidden motives. Someone hath been speaking your name, but not in love. Someone hath been repeating your story, but not with honor. They've taken fragments of your truth, twisted them, and spread them into spaces you were never meant to be discussed in. They don't even realize how dark the seeds they've sown have become. But Archangel Michael warns you, there has been a conversation behind your back, and it has birthed spiritual consequences. They whispered about your next move, not because they cared, but because they feared what your next level would do to their comfort. Someone said, you've changed, not because you've become distant, but because your growth exposed their stagnation. Your silence has been misread as weakness. Your grace hath been mistaken for naivety. But the truth is this: you were never blind, you were protected. Heaven did not allow you to see everything at once. If you had known the betrayal earlier, your heart might have shattered. But now, your spirit is strong enough to hear this truth. A curse was spoken by someone who still claims to love you. A curse was wrapped in sarcasm. It was delivered in the form of jokes, concerns, and advice. But in the spiritual realm, it landed as poison. And you, child of divine destiny, have unknowingly been inhaling the toxicity of someone else's wounded ego. They thought they could stop you. They thought they could contain the oil that runs over your life. They thought if they prayed harder, fasted longer, spoke louder, that they could take what was meant for you. But what they failed to realize is, God does not respond to envy. God responds to authenticity. And you, even in your silence, have walked authentically. Even in confusion, you've stayed kind. Even while feeling betrayed, you've kept serving. That's why heaven is moving for you now. The one who placed the curse may not even fully understand what they did. That's how generational pain works. It disguises itself as protection. But you need to know this: intent does not erase impact. Their words carried power because they came from within your bloodline, your home, your circle. And the spiritual realm honored those words as binding, until now. Until this message. Until this moment. You are no longer in the dark. You are in revelation. And revelation breaks the curse's hold. You've been watched. You've been misread. But you've also been marked. Marked by heaven. Marked by favor. Marked by truth. The eyes that misunderstood you will soon be the mouths that confess they were wrong. But for now, heed this warning. Do not brush it aside. Reflect. Ask. Pray. Observe. Because the one who cursed you may still be sitting at your table, texting your phone, calling you family. Type "I am protected by truth" in the comments. Blessing code 888 is releasing divine exposure and clarity into your life. Archangel Michael now draws a clear line between what is seen and what is sacred. What was done to you was never just an act of jealousy. It was a spiritual contract written through generational patterns, sealed with silent agreements, and fueled by ancestral insecurity. The curse placed on you was not simply a result of one person's offense. It was part of a deeper, darker system that has been in motion for decades, if not centuries, through your bloodline. And now, you are the chosen one appointed to interrupt it. Yet this hurts. Yes, this betrayal wounds deeper than most. But child of divine fire, Archangel Michael reminds you, this is not personal. This is spiritual. The betrayal may have looked like words. It may have sounded like a passive-aggressive jab. It may have felt like abandonment in moments when you needed support. But what you were truly battling was not just them. It was the spiritual shadows that saw your light coming long before you did. You were marked from the womb. Marked by divine strategy. Marked by heavenly alignment. Marked by uncommon purpose. And the enemy knew, even if you did. Your elevation has threatened more than just egos. It's disturbed ancient patterns. It's awakened generational spirits that operated undisturbed in your family for decades. Spirits of limitation. Spirits of manipulation. Spirits of silence, false loyalty, and secret sabotage. These spirits recognized that you were different. Not just louder. Not just more ambitious. But spiritually calibrated for breakthrough. Your prayers carry fire. Your voice pierces atmospheres. Your spirit repels deceit. And because of that, what was dormant in others around you began to rise in resistance. That resistance showed up as subtle sabotage. It showed up as being left out, overlooked, or gossiped about. It showed up as delays, as emotional confusion, as patterns of almost reaching breakthroughs, but never quite making it through. Because the curse that was placed on you was meant to stop your calling before it matured. It was meant to bind your feet before you reached your open door. But what the enemy didn't know, what even your betrayer didn't understand, was that heaven wrote the final word long before any curse was whispered. You are anointed. You are protected. You are not walking through this blindly. You were born to be the breaker. That is why Archangel Michael is speaking now. That is why this message found you. That is why your spiritual eyes are opening and why this pain suddenly feels like revelation, not just grief. Because what you feel right now is not just the sting of betrayal. It's the pressure of transformation. The breaking of the curse begins the moment you accept that your purpose is bigger than their pain. They weren't just threatened by your success. They were scared of what your healing would expose. They were scared that once you walked in truth, you would uncover the secrets the family never wanted revealed. But heaven does not protect secrets built on suffering. Heaven breaks them open. Heaven cleanses what hath been hidden. And heaven sends you to disrupt it all. So yes, this conflict is spiritual. Yes, it's bigger than you. But it was made for you. You were handpicked for this moment, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. Willing to pray. Willing to break patterns. Willing to question the silence. Willing to lose people in order to find your soul again. And heaven is watching, cheering, empowering you. Because what begins with you will not end with you. Your children, your future, your legacy, it all shifts when you break this curse. If this resonates deeply with your spirit, Continue supporting these divine revelations with a $10 or $20 super thanks. Your support helps us create more spirit-led content like this. Type I am the curse breaker in the comments. Blessing code 717 is now hovering over your family tree, declaring freedom, clarity, and divine order. Archangel Michael comes forward again, not in silence, but in sacred urgency. This is not the time to question your discernment. This is not the moment to doubt what your spirit already knows. What hath been released into your atmosphere was never meant to remain hidden forever. And now, the one who placed the curse, the one who masked envy as affection, is preparing to make their next move. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Spirit reveals they are planning something, and it will not appear dark. It will appear friendly, harmless, familiar. They may message you with concern. They may reach out with a question. They may say they had a dream about you. They may randomly show up in your space. But child of divine purpose, this is not random. This is not coincidence. This is calculated, and it's cloaked in spiritual manipulation. They will not speak of the curse, they will speak of reconnection. But Archangel Michael says, do not mistake contact for care. What is being activated in the spirit is not reconciliation. It is reinfection. The words they speak may seem sweet, but the energy behind them carries residue. Residue from the very spell that was set against your progress. Residue from prayers they prayed in private, hoping doors would close for you. They've sensed your spiritual awakening. They've noticed your clarity. They've seen your name rising when theirs remained still. And now, they want access again, not to bless you but to bind you. They want to reset what God already started unbinding. This is why the warning comes with divine time pressure. Archangel Michael declares, you have 3 days, not to confront, not to accuse, but to cleanse, block, disconnect, and seal. You must sever ties in the spirit before they come to tighten the knot again. Their message will not be loud. It will be subtle. Their tone will not be aggressive. It will be warm. But the darkness behind it is sharp, strategic, and seeking re-entry. The next 72 hours will determine whether the curse is reversed or reinforced. Be vigilant. Be still. Be spiritually alert. This is not the time for nostalgia. This is not the time to rationalize manipulation. This is not the time to give grace where God is commanding boundaries. You are not being asked to hate. You are being commanded to protect. To protect the anointing you carry. To protect the healing you fought for. To protect the doors that are just now beginning to open. Because what's coming next will require your full, unbound self. And heaven refuses to let the past write your future. If you're feeling that spiritual pressure right now, that's not fear. That's activation. That's the call to rise. To take your authority back. To declare, I will not fall back into the familiar. That's why you're hearing this now. Not a day later. Not next week. But now, because your destiny is moving, and this curse cannot go with you. Type not this time in the comments. Blessing code 363 is reversing every word curse and every spiritual setup sent to delay your rise. Archangel Michael now places a shield around your spirit. You've been stirred. You've been warned. You've been made aware. But now, you must be equipped. Because what's coming toward you is not just a confrontation. It's a distraction. It's bait wrapped in family tone. It's poison served with polite smiles. It's a repeat cycle disguised as a fresh start. And heaven says, do not go back. Do not explain. Do not reattach. Do not reopen. You are not obligated to entertain those who carry spiritual toxins. You are not required to validate their pain when it is weaponized against your purpose. You are not being unloving by refusing to engage. You are being obedient. The next 3 days are not about reaction. They are about restoration. Restoration of your peace. Restoration of your boundaries. Restoration of your authority. That means you will need to choose silence when your flesh desires response. You will need to choose detachment when your heart remembers the good times. You will need to choose stillness, even when the urge to defend yourself rises. And hear this clearly. Heaven will handle what you're not meant to touch. Vengeance is not your mission. Proving your heart is not your responsibility. Healing is. Freedom is. Alignment is. Archangel Michael declares, let your silence be your sword. Let your discernment be your defense. Let your spiritual instincts be louder than your memories. Because what God is healing you from is not just an incident. It's a lifetime of energetic entanglement with those who never truly clapped for your becoming. Here's what must happen now. You must anoint your home. Walk room to room, praying over the air. Play worship music. Open the windows. Invite the Holy Spirit to fill every space. Burn sage or frankincense if led. Place oil at every doorpost and declare, nothing enters here that isn't sent by God. You must break soul ties. Speak aloud the names of those who come to mind, the ones who linger in your thoughts, even if you're no longer in contact. Say their name and follow with, I release you. I forgive you. I revoke all access to my spirit, my space, and my path. Repeat this daily. You must cut the energetic strings. Delete the photos. Clear the text threads. Burn the letters. Block the numbers, not in bitterness but in obedience. Every object, every memory that carries spiritual residue must go. This isn't about hate. This is about holiness. This is about cleansing the temple so the glory can dwell. And above all, you must not explain. No post. No subtle message. No passive-aggressive updates. Your deliverance doesn't need to be broadcasted. It needs to be protected. Because the very ones who curse in secret also stalk in silence. They monitor. They mimic. They watch to see if their words are still working. And when they realize you've gone quiet, they'll panic. That panic will be their collapse. That silence will be your seal. If this message resonates and you wish to stand with this calling, consider supporting with $10, $20, or $50 super thanks. Your support fuels the mission and allows more truth to be delivered to those who need it most. Type "My silence is sacred" in the comments. Blessing code 404 is now anchoring peace and divine protection over your home and your heart. Archangel Michael returns, not to warn, but to reveal. Not to whisper caution, but to announce victory. You, chosen one, have stood in the fire. You have walked through betrayal, misunderstanding, and isolation. You have heard the whispers, felt the weight, seen the signs. And still, you did not fall. Still, you did not lose yourself. Still, you chose light, even while walking through the shadows of a family storm. And now heaven speaks. You are no longer who they thought you were. You are not the same version of yourself who once stayed quiet to keep the peace. You are not the one who apologized for your boundaries. You are not the one who dimmed your light to make others feel comfortable in their darkness. You've outgrown their version of you. You've ascended past their expectations. You've outlived the labels they tried to put on your spirit. The curse may have been real, but so is your resurrection. Yes, they tried to bind your voice. Yes, they tried to block your path. But what they didn't realize is that every curse they spoke became the fire that purified you. Every attack became the weight that strengthened your spiritual muscle. Every silent betrayal taught you to hear the whisper of God louder than the noise of man. And now, you are being reborn in clarity. This is not just about revenge. This is about reclamation. You are reclaiming your name. You are reclaiming your vision. You are reclaiming your sensitivity, your power, your confidence. What once made you feel too much is now becoming your divine tool. Your sensitivity is no longer weakness. It is your early warning radar. Your empathy is no longer a doorway for manipulation. It is now a weapon of truth. Your voice is no longer silenced. It is a trumpet in the spirit realm. Heaven is shifting your narrative. The very things they mocked you for are the exact things God is elevating you through. They said, "You're too emotional." But God says, "You feel what others avoid. That's your gift." They said, "You think you're better," but God says you are set apart, not superior. They said, "You've changed," and God says, "Yes, they've finally become who I created them to be." And now, listen carefully. They can't touch what God has sealed. They can't follow you into the next season. They can't reverse the favor. They can't unsee your transformation. And they will not recover from the reality that the one they cursed has now become the one covered in divine fire. You're not just surviving. You are activating. You're not just healing. You are awakening. You're not just protected. You are empowered. You're not just free. You are assigned. And now, as the heavens open, Archangel Michael releases this truth over you. Out of the ashes, you rise. Not quietly, not secretly, but with thunder in your bones and clarity in your eyes. The storm they sent has passed, and what it revealed, your true form, your unshakable core, your divine authority. Type "I rise" from the fire in the comments. Blessing code 555 is now igniting your next chapter, one of restoration, release, and righteous elevation. Archangel Michael now opens the scroll. Not a scroll of judgment, but of resolution. Not of vengeance, but of vindication. The battle that started with a curse is about to end in confirmation. Yes, what was spoken against you was dark. Yes, it disrupted your path, fogged your vision, and delayed your growth. But it failed to do the one thing it was designed for. It did not break you. And now, because you endured, because you obeyed, because you listened to the sound of heaven louder than the silence of betrayal, your reward is being released. The curse has collapsed under the weight of your awakening. Its assignment has expired. Its roots have been severed. The words that were spoken are now returning void. And the tongue that cursed you will soon be silenced, not by your retaliation, but by God's intervention. Heaven is orchestrating a divine reversal. You may not hear an apology. You may not see remorse. But you will see evidence. Evidence of the shift. Evidence of exposure. Evidence of elevation. The first wave of this prophetic release is truth. Get ready. Something is about to be revealed. A message, a confession, a sudden discovery, something that confirms what your spirit has already known. You'll look at it and feel a strange peace, because you will finally say, "I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I knew something was off." This truth will not shake you. It will stabilize you. The second wave is peace. Not just emotional calm, but divine order. Peace in your mind. Peace in your environment. Peace in your relationships. The chaos that once surrounded your name will fall silent. The confusion that hovered around your decisions will dissolve. You will feel lighter, sharper, and more focused than ever before. That's how you'll know the curse is broken. You'll breathe differently. The third wave is blessing. Unexpected opportunities. Divine connections. Financial release. Emotional renewal. You'll begin to notice that what was hard before is now flowing. Where there were blocks, there's now breakthrough. Where there was loss, there's now restoration. The curse didn't stop your destiny. It delayed it. But now that delay hath been lifted, and divine favor is flooding in like never before. And let this be clear. This is not just a reward. It is a restoration of what was stolen. Your time, your trust, your clarity, your peace. All of it is returning, multiplied. You will not walk into this next season winded. You will walk in wise. You will not carry resentment. You will carry revelation. You will not seek revenge. You will radiate resilience. Archangel Michael declares, this was your final test before your elevation. And you passed, not because you were perfect, but because you stayed faithful. You listened. You prayed. You waited. And now the heavens are shifting. The atmosphere is realigning. And your name is being mentioned in rooms of blessing, favor, and divine assignment. Do not step back. Do not second guess. Do not water down your testimony. What was meant to ruin you has been rerouted to reveal you. You are no longer in hiding. You are no longer a victim. You are the living proof that a cursed one can become a crowned one. You are the vessel. You are the voice. You are the victory. Type IT is finished in the comments. Blessing code 1111 is now unlocking restoration, justice, and divine compensation in every area of your life. Archangel Michael now shifts from revelation to activation. This is not just a message to be heard. It is a divine summons, a spiritual decree, a heavenly invitation to respond. Because the atmosphere around you is no longer static, it is stirred. The curse has been exposed. The betrayer's assignment is crumbling. The favor is forming. But what comes next depends on you, not your perfection, not your history, not your logic, but your spiritual agreement. Now is the moment you must speak. You must declare. You must step into your alignment, not silently, not passively, but boldly. Because words have power. Just as the curse began with a voice, your liberation must now be sealed with a greater voice. Your own. Heaven operates through agreement. The angels move at the sound of faith. And faith, child of light, speaks. Not when it's easy. Not when it's clear. But when it's divine. This is not about performance. This is about permission. God has already authorized the blessing. The doors are already shaking. The enemy is already exposed. But heaven now looks to you and asks, will you say yes? Will you speak life? Will you declare what was declared over you before the curse ever formed? This is your call to action. Declare aloud, I am no longer under any curse. I walk in divine freedom, favor, and authority. Type in the comments, I receive my deliverance. Write it down, in your journal, on your mirror, on your phone. This is the day I broke the curse. Pray boldly, not begging but believing. Pray like someone who's already free. Speak this blessing daily. Every word curse over my life is reversed. Every hidden enemy is revealed. Every stolen blessing is restored. I walk under open heaven. Your voice is not just a reaction. It is the reset. When you type, when you say, when you declare, the spirit realm responds. Angels mark your name. Chains fall. Doors creak open. The very soil under your feet begins to shift. Because your agreement with truth breaks the enemy's last hold. That's why it matters. That's why silence is no longer an option. You've been quiet long enough. You've endured in silence. You've cried in silence. You've questioned in silence. But now, it's time to respond in power. And remember, this is not a one-time moment. This is a rhythm of restoration. You may feel led to replay this message. You may feel called to speak these declarations every morning. Do it. Because every time you speak, you shatter a little more of what was built against you. Every time you agree, you activate alignment. Every time you declare, you dethrone deception. You are not weak. You are not late. You are not cursed. You are rising. You are speaking. You are stepping. And heaven is recording every movement. Watch my channel videos regularly. These are not just words. They are tools. Every message builds your inner altar. Every video equips you with divine truth to stand strong, stay sharp, and walk fully in who God created you to be. Type I receive my deliverance in the comments now. Blessing code 2024 is active. This is your turnaround year. No more delay. No more deception. It begins today. Archangel Michael now closes this scroll with finality. Not the finality of defeat, but the finality of deliverance. The curse that once clung to you, hidden beneath layers of trust and tradition, has now been shattered. What was once unspoken has now been brought into the light. And in that light, you have not only survived, you have been transformed. You are not limping from this battle. You are launching. You are no longer walking with a weight of what was done to you. You are now carrying the wisdom of what was revealed through it. That's the gift, the mystery, the divine paradox. What they meant for evil, heaven used to evolve you. The pain did not bury you. The silence did not crush you. The curse did not corrupt you. Instead, every word spoken against you was rerouted and repurposed into glory. You are not a victim. You are the revelation. The walking proof that the light always rises, that purpose always prevails, that God always keeps his promise. You've been misunderstood. You've been misread. You've been mishandled. But none of that matters anymore. Why? Because your name hath been rewritten in heaven's ink. Not defined by betrayal, but by boldness. Not defined by who left, but by who stood. Not defined by what they said, but by what God is saying now. Listen to the truth that heaven declares over you now. You are chosen, before the curse, during the curse, and after the curse. You are covered, not just in protection, but in purpose. You are crowned, not with pride, but with promise. You are called not because you're perfect, but because you're prepared. You are confirmed, not by men, but by God. They tried to bury you in secrets, but now you rise in revelation. They tried to drown you in delay, but now you walk on water. They tried to curse your journey, but now heaven funds your flight. Let them whisper. You rise. Let them wonder. You walk. Let them pretend they don't see. But they do. And so does heaven. The days of shrinking to make others feel comfortable are over. The season of over-explaining is done. You don't owe them your story. You owe God your yes. Archangel Michael leaves you with this. The curse has been reversed. The betrayal has served its purpose. And now, all that remains is the becoming. You are no longer defined by the one who cursed you. You are defined by the one who called you. And that calling is active. It's alive. It's magnetic. It's unfolding now. This is not the end. This is the beginning of everything that was delayed. Walk in it. Own it. Speak it. And never, ever apologize for it. The darkness that once followed you will now fear you, because you are light in human form, and light never asks permission to shine. Type "I am the revelation" in the comments. Blessing code 7777 is now unlocking sustained favor, divine clarity, and unstoppable momentum over your destiny. This is your moment. This is your movement. And if this message blessed you deeply, consider showing love and support through super thanks, super chat, super stickers, or becoming a member. Your seed helps plant more truth in hearts that need it most, and it's appreciated more than you know. Let them whisper. You rise. Let them wonder. You win. Let them regret. You rejoice. The curse is broken, and so are the chains. Walk free. Stay free. Be the light.